Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Mark, I want to first thank you for agreeing to meet today. We both share a unique bond, not just as brothers, but also as individuals tied to the legacy of our father, Mr. Asian. He built this company with the vision of creating something great, and I know that we both respect him for what he has accomplished in his life. I believe while circumstances have created a rift between us, through this negotiation there is an opportunity for both of us to work together in a way that ensures the future of this firm while addressing the problems of our and also concerns of ours.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mark and Mrs. Catherine. I am Mr. Smith, counsel of my client, Mr. Atlas. So, first of all, thank you for accepting our proposal for this negotiation session. And in this negotiation, we both parties will try to come at some amicable solution related to the matters related to the property and also the matter related to the company, which my client also having problem in that. And all the decision of this negotiation session is of my client, and I am only in the advisory capacity of my client to give the different suggestions which my client needed in whole the negotiation session. And in this negotiation session, we will try to come at amicable solution by solving all the agendas of this session.
Thank you, Atlas, for bringing us together. You are right, the bond we share as a brother and our connection to Dad's legacy is something that goes deeper than just a business. Mr. Azel poured his heart and soul in the company, and I know how much it means to both of us. While we had our difference, I believe this negotiation is a chance to find a common ground. I want to work toward a solution that not only honors our dad built, but also ensure that we can both feel confident in the future of the company. I'm open to hear your concerns and working together to find a way forward.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Catherine Howard. You're all welcome to call me Catherine. I'm Mr. Mark's counsel and will be dealing with all matters legal and otherwise. I would like to thank Mr. Atlas for choosing to negotiate instead of litigating. I'm here on advisory basis only. All the decisions today and forward will be made by my client himself. While we recognize the complexities of the problem at hand, I believe that by listening to each other actively, we can reach a solution that is beneficial to all. Given the time constraints, I propose to prioritize the most critical issues first and work towards timely resolution.
To be frank, the situation between our companies is very unsustainable. With the competition intensifying, we are both losing ground, and this impacts not only us but also the legacy of our father's hard work. My primary concern is to ensure the longevity of the firm, and I believe that merging our efforts is the most practical situation, would be the most practical solution. However, we need to align on how we divide the ownership and the property fairly.
So, as my client said that our company is facing the losses and which also having the deep impact on the business in the market, and because of that, we are not having the more customer in the market at the present situation, and that's why one point is more that our company's valuation is 160 million and your company's valuation is 90 million, and in the same product in the same sector, and I think which is more than your company's valuation. And one point is that so the agenda, if you set the first agenda of this negotiation session, so the first agenda of the negotiation is that we will merge out both our company with your company, so that we can reduce the losses of company and also expand business, which result in more profit for the company.
To be clear, when I was abroad for a medical treatment at a critical time, our father transferred the whole entire company to you, leaving me with nothing, not even a single share. Now, when the workers are unhappy and the companies are declining, you expect me to merge my company with yours. This is completely unacceptable. I have built my own company without using even a single penny of my father's property. All I want now is my fair share of the property and nothing more.
Before we move any further into our discussions, I would like to set the agenda for today. As was already discussed by Mr. Atlas, he wants both the parties to merge the businesses, whereas my client, Mr. Mark, does not want that. Instead, he wants his share in the company, his share in the property of Mr. Aziat, his father. To summarize all the agendas, today we'll be discussing the merger, if my client agrees to that, and future governance and roles which comes with the merger. Thirdly, we'd also like to discuss the division of property. So, if everybody is in agreement, let us begin.
Sure.
I understand that this is difficult, Mark, but a merger would bring tremendous benefit to both of us. The synergies between our firms can create something far stronger than either of us can achieve alone. And by combining our resources, our talents, and market presence, we would create a potential to dominate the industry. For that, I would propose a 30% of ownership stake for you in the merged entity. This gives you a significant role in the company's future. I would like to hear your thoughts on this.
I would like to match your offer, but the offer that you gave me undervalues my net revenue. My counsel can further elaborate about it more.
If my client allows, I would like to share his annual net revenue
Yeah,
for year 2023.
yes.
His current annual net revenue is about $90 million, as was previously mentioned by Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, may I know what is the current net revenue of your company? And I'm not talking about the $160 million that you have mentioned, I'm talking about the current net revenue after you have faced the losses.
And the current revenue is 100 million.
But Mr. Smith, according to my calculations, it is 72 million because you told me that 45% losses were occurred during the previous year. So, if I calculate it, 160 million, if I minus 45% losses, it comes to 72 million only. And while we would like to match the offer, we would also like to have the offer that is more beneficial to us because 30% you offered us comes up to only 21.60 million, and you know that my client's current net revenue is $90 million. He owns 98% of his company, so you can imagine it will be a major loss to his net worth if we agree to this percentage that you are offering. We would like to match you, we would not be inflexible, but we would also want that you agree to a little bit more.
My initial offer is solely focused on the property. I'm asking for 70% of the property because I'm not requesting a single share in the company itself. What I'm asking is for equitable terms in the terms of monetary value, not a ownership in the business.
So, as my client said that our company is in loss by 45%, and because of which our company is not in the position to match your offer which you are giving, and that's why what my client offer is I think that is feasible and much above to our expectations. And the other point is that you are using the same name and fame of my client's father's company, and that's why I have objection on that point also. And if you're talking about the property, so you are and if you're talking about the property, so we are ready to give you 50% of the property, and I think which is feasible and in accordance with the law. So that's the point I want to say.
Mr. Smith, my client does want to work with yours. We are not trying to come off as argumentative or inflexible. We are here, our presence here tells you enough of our position. As for your point that you raised that my client is using your client's father's name and fame, I want to remind you that they have the same father. He has equal right of sharing the name and fame of his father as your client does. I don't understand what the problem is. Secondly, that my client does want to work with you, but we would also like to match it because my client won't suffer losses because of if your company is suffering losses, my client's company is perfectly fine. We can stay where we are and we will still make more than what you are offering.
How about 40% of ownership in the company and 60% of the property? I believe that is a fair offer.
If you want to merge my company with yours, I want 50% ownership of the company and 70% of the property. Your company is currently suffering from the loss, and if you want to survive, merging is essential. These terms reflect the value I bring to the table.
Okay, so what you asking for 45% share in the company and 70% share in the property? I think this is much higher than our expectations because we are not in the condition to give you that much of share because our company is already in losses. So and other point is that my client is holding 90% share in the company and only 10% share is in the hand of the other shareholders of the company. And if we talk about the matters related to the property, so when the property is divided at that point of time, you are not present and you are not there when the property is divided. So if you are present at that point of time also, so you will get only the 50% share of the property. So I think that is in accordance with the law that 50% you should get 50% of the property and what my client said in the company.
Mr. Counsel, we understand what your point is. We do understand, believe us. But also to correct you, we didn't ask for 45%. My client in his second offer suggested 50% of the company and 70% of the property. Secondly, as you mentioned, you didn't know where my client was. But at that time, my client was absent in the life of Mr. Aziel and his son, Mr. Atlas, your client. That time, my client was medically unfit and he was elsewhere to get treated. And also, his father nor your client, both of them did not try to reach out to my client to check his whereabouts. And that was for 2 whole years while my client was absent. Secondly, that you offer 50% of the company, but I think that doesn't help our cause at all. We want to work with you. I want that you meet us in the middle so that we can reach an amicable solution. I don't want my client to face losses just to merge with you. We want to merge the company with you. We are here, our presence, as I said, our presence states our intention enough. But the offer you said 40% was the offer Mr. Atlas quoted, that doesn't work in our favor. That still is less as was made by my client previously. $90 million, you understand, is a lot of money. And if more than 50% is losses while merging with you, I don't think that is a fair offer. I ask you to meet him in the middle. I request that if we are to reach a solution from here on onwards, we have to meet each other in the middle so that both parties benefit from this negotiation.
I hear your concern, Mark. That's why I'm also trying to find a middle ground for both of us. For that, I propose a final 45% of ownership in the company for your side. This will give you a substantial influence while ensuring that we can still manage the company effectively. For the property, I'll offer 65% of ownership for your side, which is 15% more than what you would have got when father has passed away. And this reflects the respect that I have for you and the value that you bring to this company and this merger.
I appreciate your willingness to compromise, and I agree to the percentage you have proposed. I can accept 45% ownership in the company and 65% of the property. While this is not exactly what I initially wanted, but I understand the need for the middle ground. And I believe this deal reflects a fair approach that can help both of us move forward successfully.
As my client has already agreed to the percentage, he would also like to propose that if he starts another company or another brand under the umbrella of your company, he will not be sharing any profits with this company or any rights or patents of that product with this company. This is just a proposal and it does not affect what my client has already agreed to. He has already agreed to 45% of the shares and 65% of the property. This is just out there to secure the position of my client as he is leaving his own company behind for a lesser amount of shares. We want him to have a secure position, to have a decision maker, to be a decision making body in the company.
Mark, since you will have a significant stake in the merged company, it is important to clarify your needs and the roles so that we can avoid any potential conflicts down the line. I believe we need to ensure both the parties have been given clear decision-making authority in a specific area. For that, my client would further elaborate. For that, my counsel would further elaborate.
Okay, Mr. Mark. So as my client Mr. Atlas said that we have to discuss on the future governance and role also. So there are three terms and conditions which I want to propose for the governance in future of the company. So first is day-to-day operation. So my client Mr. Atlas will lead day-to-day operation as CEO. Given my experience with the company's internal structure, I believe my client is in best position to ensure smooth operation. And the second is strategic decision board representation. So as my client having as you are taking the 45% share, I suggest that you hold a seat on the board. This would give you significant influence over major strategic decisions such as investment in other companies, acquisitions of new companies, or expansion into new markets. And third is division of responsibility. So to ensure your voice is heard in key operational areas, we can assign specific division or departments where you can take lead. For example, you could oversee new business development or research development department where your fresh expertise and experience would highly valuable.
I accept the offer that you have proposed. Let us also discuss on the profit sharing ratio, which I thought clarified the agreement more clearly.
On the subject of profit sharing, I propose that since my client has 45% of the shares in his company, he will be sharing 45% of the profits with Mr. Atlas. However, we can also add an additional bonus structure to certain milestones. We could set some realistic yet ambitious milestones for the first few years post-merger. For instance, hitting a combined revenue target of 100 million would trigger a 5% profit sharing bonus. For example, 45% is already being shared by my client. This will increase to 50% on reaching a 100 million milestone. If everybody is in agreement.
Yeah, sure.
Mark, I'm glad that we made a progress. I believe this arrangement will not only settle our differences but also secure the future of the business and our family's legacy. Together, we can achieve far more success than we could by remaining apart. I'm confident that this merger will bring a lot of success in the long term.
So thank you, Mr. Mark and Mrs. Catherine, for accepting our proposal and coming on this negotiation table and discussing the different agendas related to the property and future governance and role in the company. So thank you for also to being patient and kind throughout the negotiation session. So what we have discussed that is 45% share in the company and 65% share in the property. We will definitely write this all in the agreement and signed by the both parties so that no future discrepancy arises in future. And this is our first negotiation session and we have discussed all the problems related to the property and company, and we believe that if any future discrepancy arises in future, so we will definitely go for another negotiation session in the future.
As we close this chapter of negotiation, I wanted to take a moment to appreciate the fact that despite the difficulties between us, we have found a resolution. This wasn't just about business, it was about preserving the legacy of our dad and ensuring that both of us are treated fairly. More importantly, you are my brother. We have shared a lifetime of memories from childhood to adulthood, and those moments filled with joy and hardship are something I cherish deeply, no matter what challenges we face. I don't want to lose that bond. I am hopeful that this agreement is not just a step forward for the company but also for us.
I would like to thank Mr. Atlas and his counsel, Mr. Smith, for their time and cooperation. It was good to see us all willing and open-minded enough to come to a conclusion that satisfies both parties. I would like to summarize what we have agreed to today in this negotiation session. We have agreed that Mr. Atlas will own 55% of the company along with 35% of the properties. We have also agreed that he will remain the CEO of the company as he owns a larger percentage of shares. Mr. Mark, my client, will own 45% of the company, with which he shares 45% of the profits, and also further he will own 65% of the total property. Along with this, he'll be a member of board of directors and will lead any of the departments that will be discussed in the next round of meetings, where both the councils will draft a formal contract. Mr. Mark will also be sharing 45% of the total profits, with which an additional bonus structure could be added on certain milestones. Further, if we hit a target of $100 million in our first year, we can earn 5% bonus share. And if Mr. Mark doesn't start a new business, he will not be sharing any profit with the CEO. So if we all are in agreement of today's negotiation session, let us finish what we have started by signing a formal contract in the next round of meetings. Thank you all once again. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.